Wait, hold on. You said something earlier. What was your previous experience with Bad Boy? Just so I could understand.
The pieces of fall apart.
Sitting behind us are two of the most popular 60-inch estate mowers on the market. You have the Toro Titan Max 60 and the Bad Boy Maverick 60. These machines, spec for spec, are nearly identical, and they're a very tough choice to choose between which brand.
In this video, we're going to be mowing high grass that you see behind us, this kind of normal field grass. We're going to take these mowers over to Tractor Supply and ask random strangers who we don't know to test them and mow with them and get their feedback. And then we're gonna take them back to the shop, put them up on racks, have the techs help us look around them and point out what's different, what's same, how are these actually made, so you guys can see the build quality of each of these units.
Step one is to mow on this field here. We use this field all the time. You've probably seen us mowing in it before. It is your typical pasture. There's some area here that we mow a lot, and it's grown up about shin high, and then there's some area where it's really thick, and we're gonna take it into that and see how it handles the heavy duty stuff.
Heavy duty. Honestly, neither of these mowers are made for that heavy duty stuff, but I'm curious to see how it does. Let's do it. You get the Toro first, I'll get the Bad Boy.
All right.
Initial reaction on steering and how it feels.
Yeah, it's boggier. It's laggier. This is a little harder to push against.
Yeah.
For some reason, this one spins out more.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
Like you'll go to turn around and this one, tire's spinning around. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's the same tire.
Same tire, but maybe it's weight placement, and I don't know. I don't know why, but I was doing the same thing. That one was spinning out. It wouldn't turn sharp. The steering on this was way lighter and more sharp, I guess is the best way I could describe it. It felt more like a German sports car versus, you know, a big old beefy truck, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though they're both American.
I don't know, they both cut good, and I would say the dispersion on both was pretty good.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought the Bad Boy was gonna do worse, but it did fine on the dispersion.
Those big heavy piles down at the end.
That's thick.
It definitely bogged this one out. How did it do on that one?
It bogged this one down too. I felt like I should lift the deck up because it felt like it was gonna get.
Yeah, we're struggling, and I watched it build up, like nothing was coming out of the side, and then like a big burst would come out.
Yeah, it did the same thing here.
Yeah.
I'm curious. There's no way it can mow that super thick stuff. Like, we're gonna smoke a belt. I felt like the Bad Boy, the belt had more chatter. This deck felt less vibration than that deck while mowing. I don't know if you noticed that. I could like feel like the,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's idlers or belt slipping or something when I was in the thicker stuff on that one.
That's gonna light up some YouTube people.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt. I don't know how to describe that.
Yeah.
Other than a vibration meter.
I mean, there's more isolators on this. When we go through this machine, it's got rubber all over it.
Yeah.
It should feel less.
But it feels like fat, not, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, that's the way it feels. Like this feels sharp and it has like more like reaction, quicker reaction, but still like, it's not like jerky.
Yeah.
That felt squishy.
But I would say kind of the end synopsis of if you are mowing this situation, say you got 5 acres pasture, similar thickness of grass, on your initial cut, you're going to be equally as happy with either.
As far as cut quality, yeah.
Now there's other things, there's dealers, there's durability, service support.
Yep.
All those things that could edge one over the other. But as far as day one, year one,
New product.
This is what you're getting is a new product. They both cut really good. They both feel good and cut good.
Yeah. You know, there's a saying, every new broom sweeps good.
Exactly.
You know, and these are both sweeping fine.
Yeah.
How do they hold up over time? So that'd be interesting to see, like once we get into how they're built and we looked at some of the features of them, to kind of compare those.
Yeah.
We want to do a drag race, maybe an obstacle course. Like if we drive down, go around that big pile of grass and come back.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'll tell you right now, neither of those machines are made for grass that tall.
No.
They both perform poorly in that grass.
I mean, we were going really slow. The machines were choking out. The bad boy was getting to where like nothing was coming out.
Same. Honestly, there was times where nothing was coming out.
And then you would just watch like a chunk roll by underneath your farthest right blade, right?
Yeah, and it was not cutting well on the left blade for me in that much grass. Between the left and center blade.
That's the limitation of a mower like this. This is like...
This is bush hog, this is big.
Get a bush hog and then keep it mowed, you know?
Yeah, that's heavy duty stuff. But we didn't break anything, and by God, you could do it if you had to. And if you did get it down, you know, you could do a couple passes and make it work.
Yeah.
I don't know, inconclusive on that result.
Yeah.
The drag race, the bad boy did go slightly faster.
Yeah?
Slightly. I mean, once we were going, we basically were going the same speed.
Yeah.
But off the launch, it was slightly faster.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna go run over to Tractor Supply and let some other random people test it, because you guys, you know, we might have a biasness here, right? So we're gonna let some random people try them, mow a little bit over there, and see what they think. The mowers look beautiful. Let's go find ourselves a test subject inside Tractor Supply. Let's go. Wah! Excuse me. Do you want to test the lawnmower?
Do I want to test? No.
No, okay. Which one did you like? Which one did you felt like you had more confidence in?
I think the simpler one is this one.
Okay, simpler how?
It could be because it's the first one I ever, you know, rode, but I think just the pulling to activate the blades is more like
intuitive?
what's the word? Yeah, intuitive.
Then pushing the button?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else
for me,
did you
anyway.
notice?
This one's a lot more faster. I don't know if that was just me,
Yeah?
but I felt a lot more relaxed on this one.
Which one was bumpier? Which one was smoother?
This one was a lot more smoother.
Okay.
This one was definitely more bumpy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if you were to buy one today, which one would you buy?
The bad boy for sure.
The bad boy.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
This one don't turn to the right very well.
Doesn't turn as good?
No, not as good.
Yeah, what did you think about the difference in steering versus the two?
Like I said, that one felt solid. This one, it was okay. Like I said, it's just it doesn't turn to the right very well.
Yeah.
So that's got to be an adjustment.
Yeah. How about the seats? Which one felt more comfortable?
Both about the same.
About the same.
Yeah.
About mowing, did you notice any difference there?
Nope.
No, not really.
They're both pretty solid.
Yeah.
But,
Awesome.
But that one's smoother. This one isn't.
That one's smoother.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
John, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Here. Thank you very, very much. Thanks for your
Toro's
time.
always smooth.
Yeah, wait, hold on. You said something earlier. What was your previous experience with Bad Boy? Just so I could understand.
The pieces of fall apart.
Well, I'll tell you, this one, the controls are more touchy.
Yeah.
But it seems to be my preferred one.
Yeah.
Once I got used to it.
Yeah.
I would say I like this one better. Right off the bat, it felt like it was, except I had a harder time controlling it because these controls were touchier, right?
Yeah.
And since I'm a rookie, but I would prefer this one.
We watched exactly that. We watched you a little squirrely, and then we're like, oh, he's got it now.
Yeah.
You got it more precise.
I'm not sure why this one feels more comfortable. I just the ergonomics feel better to me.
If you were to buy one today,
Well, I would have to look at price, obviously.
They're within $100 of each other.
Oh, really?
This one has a 2-year warranty versus a 4-year.
Basically same horsepower, same this one's
horsepower.
bigger.
This is 1 more horsepower. They're the same.
Is this a wider cut?
Same cut.
And they're basically the same price?
Basically same price.
You know me, Toro's a name I know. From a maintenance standpoint, what's the difference?
Same.
Same, basically everything's the same. These are bigger tires, bigger wheels, taller. I tend to go, like I got 20s on my truck.
What do you got there, Stu?
23, 11, 12. These are 23, 11, 12.
So it's the same tire.
Same tire.
Same width, same everything.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know enough about it to give you an honest opinion, but I would probably go Toro for the same money just because it's a name I know above Bad Boy, although Bad Boy's probably better known with the yard guys.
What did you think?
They're both easy to drive. I kind of preferred this one a little more.
Okay.
I think part of it was I got better control. I learned that I don't use my wrist, I use my thumbs. You saw how slow I was going.
Yeah.
Just have to get used to it. I never driven anything with handlebars that made you go forward. But if I still had a large yard like I did when I was younger before I retired, I'd probably sway more toward this one.
Yeah. Sometimes it's interesting, depending on which one people ride first, they like the second one better because they have a little more experience after that point.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
What my thing is, they were both good rides.
Yeah.
Except for the damn bouncing.
Yeah, the bouncing. Which one bounced harder?
I was going faster in that, so I felt it more in that, but I was going faster.
Yeah.
I slowed down with this one, so it wasn't as
Okay. Would it change the way you thought about either one, knowing one had twice as long of a warranty?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah?
I tend to go toward the longer warranty units.
This one has twice as long as a warranty.
I'd probably look at pricing next.
The pricing is $100 difference.
That's not severe.
Yeah.
And then I would look at reviews online and see what I could find.
Yeah. Well, here's one interesting thing. The nearest Bad Boy dealer has 1 mechanic. The nearest Toro dealer has 12 mechanics.
Well,
Which
that would
one?
be a factor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big factor.
Yeah.
So I'll change my mind. I'll go with that one.
Okay, so now that we've had random people try it, we've tried them out in the field, we're gonna take a look at both these machines from a mechanical standpoint. We work on mowers every day. I see mowers with lots of hours on it, and there's certain components that last longer than others, so we're gonna dig into the nitty-gritty. We're gonna try to understand what makes these different, what components are similar, and see which one, breaking it down component by component, might win in from a design standpoint.
So when we were at Tractor Supply, pretty even split. As we kept interviewing people, we kept getting one on either side.
Yeah.
And out in the field, pretty even there too.
Yeah, you know, one thing we didn't really get to test with really thick, luscious green grass, which I wish we did, because I think, you know, that would change how these performed. But
we're in a drought. There's not a blade of good grass in Central Florida right now.
It was crispy out there, let's just say that. But in that test, in like a field application, they both mowed very similarly at that test. So yes, 100%.
Now we're back at our shop, and we've been doing this a long time. We see mowers age out, expire.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna kind of go through with that lens and look at what will expire on either of these mowers first. Let's do it. So we spent a lot of time with these machines. We've gone through them in and out, and we have determined that there's a lot of things that's equal. Maybe they're engineered and designed a little differently, but we think the durability is on par. So a couple things would be, starting at the top would be the roll bar. No difference in durability, they're equal.
Equal.
The seats are equal. The tires, the rear tires are the exact same tire. The front tires are the exact same size tire.
They're gonna do the same thing.
They're gonna do the same thing.
These,
The front forks are of similar thickness. We're pretty certain that they will last equal amount of time.
these steering
The steering
levers.
handle levers itself equals. They both have a rubber mat, which is a nice thing to have. We would call them equal there.
Yep. They both have rubber chutes.
They both have rubber discharge chutes. So we would give them an equal there.
Yep.
But after that, we start to get into some inequalities. Let's go into those now. One big difference worth talking about is Bad Boy's isolation system. We've jumped on it. You've seen it has a lot of flex. And for better or worse. On the good side, this would be the more comfortable ride of the two. So advantage Bad Boy on comfortable ride.
As far as suspension.
As far as durability and being moving parts and serviceable items, these parts go bad and wear out. It would be advantage Toro on the durability side. This system also affects the cut.
When you are bouncing and hitting bumps, it is changing your deck's relationship to the ground. And if you hit a big bump, you could scalp, essentially.
So on the quality cut side of the isolation system, Toro's gonna be advantage there as well.
Yeah. Moving on to the next thing. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the deck systems. They are both 60-inch decks. They're both made out of steel, obviously, but after that, they're very different. Here's some things I really like about the Toro deck system. It has a bull nose, which is a reinforced curved piece of steel across the whole front, and it adds a really strong piece of rigidity if that deck takes an impact. Say you're cruising along and there's a stump or a cinder block or something, curb, and you smack that. That bull nose does a great job of protecting that leading edge, and that can warp your whole deck if you don't have some really strong rigidity like that built in. The other thing I do appreciate about the Toro is that their anti-scalp wheels has dual supports. Each one of them has metal on either side of their centered anti-scalp wheel. So the scalp wheel's in the middle, it has like a gusset on this side and a gusset on that side, and it's reinforced by the bull nose, and it's made out of the same thickness as their deck. The Toro has a 10-gauge steel deck. I appreciate how their belt is routed. The center spindle has a lot of wrap around it. They only have to use 3 idler pulleys on this deck, which is a simpler system with more wrap on the center pulley. I like that you can remove the spindle covers without any tools. Toolless spindle cover removal is critical for like keeping up with the deck maintenance. Like you want to blow this thing off often, it makes it so much easier to take those off and access everything. I like the Toro's deck hanging system and how their cut of height system is laid out. It's very simplified. It's in 1/4-inch increments, so you can really fine tune how long and how precise you want your cut. It goes from 1 to 5 inches, which is really, really high for this category. And it offers a quick transport mode. So without having to touch your pin, you can just push your pedal all the way down and it locks in the highest position. To me, that's a great advantage. I don't have to reach down there and try to adjust something. I can send it all the way up and it automatically stays up in the highest position, which is really helpful for me. I also like how you can access the deck very easily through the floor panel. This completely removes, and everything is super accessible for a technician or for you, or if you got a stick jammed in there or you got to put a belt on in your garage. It is way easier to work on this machine because of how open it is in that area. And those are some things I like about the Toro deck system. Stu's going to tell you about the Bad Boy because they have their own way of doing things, and they have some great things about their deck too.
There's 2 big advantages that Bad Boy has over the Toro. One is that their deck is made out of 7-gauge steel, and 7-gauge steel is a good bit thicker than 10-gauge steel. So in really sandy conditions, it's a possibility, as long as the strength of steel that they're using is on par with the Toros, that it could last longer. They do have a reinforced strip around the leading edge, but I would still say the bullnose would be tougher in impact situations. And then the bad boy has 6 anti-scalp rollers. 6 rollers is nice. So we were talking about how the suspension's gonna get the deck bouncing to the ground, but if you have your anti-scalp set right,
You might not scalp that bad.
they're gonna stop it from hitting the ground, right?
Yeah.
The Toros are double hung. These are single hung, so if you're being a hammerhead and you're roughing your mower up, you're gonna eventually bend and wear these brackets off because they're only held on one side.
But they are made with a really thick chunk of metal. I mean, you look at them, they don't look weak, they look beefy.
Other than that, when you really dial in and look at the engineering of the deck lift, the way that the deck is hung, there's a anti-sway element to both of them. To me, they're equal in deck lift durability. I love the fact that you have removable panels, whereas on the bad boy, you have panels that require a 1/2-inch socket to remove. It just means you're less likely at the end of the workday to remove these and clean your deck, so you're gonna be putting your mower away wet.
What about the deck lift or height adjustment?
You know, when it's brand new and working right, it's really easy to use. So I like how quick it is. I think it's maybe a little quicker than this. But I think we have a lot of customers who are looking for the highest cut possible. So this is a 1/2-inch higher cut. Some people doing Bermuda looking for the lowest possible cut. This is a lower possible cut. And I know that this system will last till the end of time.
Yeah. I've seen this system, that dial get really stiff over time.
Yeah.
And some of those gears can get like shredded kind of thing.
Or I know when Gravely had a dial system
Yeah.
like that, it was
hard.
problematic.
And then this one also does not lock into the highest position quickly. You have to, anytime you want to lift and keep the deck up, you either have to keep your foot on the pedal or then adjust it to 4.5 and then you can let go. But there's no stow mode.
So pros and cons of both. I give Bad Boy advantage on durability and I give Toro advantage on design.
Yeah, moving on to the next system. Guys, we're going to talk about operator controls on the Toro versus the Bad Boy. There's some subtle things here, but I think they're important to notice. All the operator controls are on the right-hand side on the Toro. Every single thing you're going to do, touch, need to operate is right here on this panel. Parking brake is integrated, so just by opening this handle, your parking brake automatically turns on. That's a really helpful feature. The throttle is really smooth. It has a little detent as you hit full throttle and it locks it into place, but it's easy to move back and forth with a nice big knob. The quality of this PTO switch, this is the same PTO switch you see on the more commercial units like the grandstands, and they just have really good warranty data on these and they work really well. And I like how simple it is. You're not pulling up and down on it. It's a little bit gentler and easy to use. This is your key switch. This key switch is a really good key switch. It has this nice rubber piece around your key so rain doesn't get into your keyhole. These key switches are the same key switches you see on the big commercial, you know, $18,000 Toros, and I think they're a great key switch. Here's your choke and your lights. This machine comes with LED light kit on the front, so you can mow in the winter, you can mow at night, in the mornings, and it's automatically integrated and it's really easy to use. It's all on the right-hand side. Let's talk about the Bad Boy.
All right, on the Bad Boy, you have some of your controls on the right and some of them are on the left, which, you know, you pull your choke over here and then you reach over here and you crank it and then you put your brake down over here. So not as streamlined as having it all on one side. You know, earlier we were a little critical of this dial, but now I would say this is nice to not have to lean forward to change your height. You can be fully sat back. This throttle lever, not nearly as smooth as a Toro. It takes quite a bit of force to move it. This PTO switch is perfectly fine. Toros use them, but we do see that they fail more than the rocker switch. This key switch doesn't have that same dust shield that keeps the dirt and water out. This is the key that we sell to like the cheapest steering wheel belt drive tractor in the world. So I don't have high hopes of this being a long-lasting component. Looks like a good hour meter. The only other thing that I would say is that this brake, although it looks really beefy, heavy duty, it's got two big cables at the base of it. These cables, I suspect, will be a problem child at some point in time. Cables that thick, they develop rust inside of them and they become frozen. You also have this safety switch that's just screwed onto the side here, and you're kind of hitting it hard. I think you're going to break that off. So on the overall operator controls and comfort and durability side, I'm going to give Toro the advantage on that. All right, let's talk about fuel tanks. On the Toro, you have a 7-gallon fuel tank. It sits in the dead middle of the machine and it sits very low. It has a fuel gauge that you can see from the seat, but you kind of have to pick your armrest up and you have to look down a little slot. The bad boy has a side-mounted fuel tank, so it's not as center balanced. It's a little bit higher of a weight center. It's 6.5 gallons, but it has a fuel gauge that's very easy to watch as you go. I'll leave that up to you, which is a better option. To me, they're pretty equal.
Okay guys, I know this might seem like a stretch, but I wanted you to see this because it's important to me from a mechanical standpoint. This is the Toro. This is its steering mechanism, okay? Inside here is a nice contained aluminum bracket with a heavy-duty bolt and a nice heavy-duty dampener down here. This is that fuel tank Stu was talking about earlier, with the fuel gauge. But this is a very simplified system and it's greaseless and they last a long time. We've had a lot of success with these. I don't see them failing often, if ever. It's going to hold up a very, very long time. But I want you to see the bad boy version of this because it's important. I don't want you to spend your entire weekend working on it because you picked wrong. Okay, come over here. I want to show you this. I think it's interesting how they came up with it. This is the belly of the beast. This is where engineers can hide things that you might not notice. Let's go. So this is the bad boy version. This is their steering mechanism. There's a bracket in the middle and there's a bracket that it's basically on this outer wall. This entire tube has a piece inside of it that it's pivoting on and it has to be greased. Do you own a grease gun? Do you like greasing things? There are a lot of grease fittings on this machine, which can be good and bad. Some people are like, oh man, I want to be able to grease it, which is cool, but you don't have to design everything to accept grease. Sometimes you don't need grease. This steering mechanism, for it to feel smooth, you're gonna need to grease it often. And that's a long way for grease to travel. A lot of times grease takes the path of least resistance. It might go this way only, or that way only, and I believe over time, this steering can get stiffer and stiffer and even get frozen and cause issues. This earlier is what we were talking about with the parking brake as well. Here are your long, big, thick cables. These little caps don't necessarily stay on there very well. And these holes could fill up with water. And then this is your parking brake switch. And as I swing this back, it's making contact with this plastic here. And it could easily break this off. And these are just self-tapered in to this metal here and kind of almost touching your tank that could even possibly wear a hole. I don't really like that. I don't really like the way this feels, and I definitely don't like that. But that's my opinion. Maybe some of you guys have a bad boy and you're watching this video and you say, I've never had to grease that, it's been feeling fine. Leave a comment if that's true. To me, it just stands out as something that could be a potential issue.
One thing that concerns me a little bit, and I don't know firsthand, maybe you guys own one of these and you've had an experience with this, is this big slotted hole in the middle of the deck. It seems a bit like an engineering shortcut. It seems like a place where sand and debris are going to come. It seems like a place where this carriage bolt is going to wear through. And I'm a little suspicious of its design.
So the engines are basically the exact same. They're both Kohlers, they both have the same displacement, but the Toro has one more horsepower. It's a 26 horse versus 25 horse. We're gonna lift these up and see underneath, check out the transmissions and see the differences there. Okay guys, we put the bad boy up in the air. I want you guys to see these transmissions and how it's all designed in here. Because this is something you're not gonna see in the showroom, but you're gonna see right now. The 3200s are a slightly bigger transmission. I give bad boy props for putting these on here, but they do have the same ground speed and they are similar in power. They do technically have slightly more torque and a slightly thicker drive shaft, which I give them lots of props for. But the one thing that concerns me about them, that I think Toro might have the advantage over, is how these are mounted. These are mounted with bushings. There's two bushings here, and then these are pivot points. You can't really see, but there is a bolt here with a little bracket and allows it to pivot. It can cause uneven tire wear over time. Your tires aren't gonna be sitting flat. Your pulleys and belts on top of these transmissions are going to be flexing and changing their angle and their pitch, which that belt is going to be riding on over time, which hydraulic belts already have a tough life. You don't need to make it any harder by adding all kinds of side wear with those pulleys moving. The other thing that is strange to me is there's zero protection for your clutch or your transmissions, and there's nothing holding them together in any kind of capacity. That means all of your stress is on your frame here, and they could eventually create more slop and more play. These bushings are going to get loose over time, and then this is all very vulnerable. This is your lowest point of your bumper, and your clutch is sticking lower than that. So if you were to back over a ledge, a curb, a stump, this bottom pulley is very, very vulnerable. It could get hit and impacted. Your clutch wires are very vulnerable. They could get hit and impacted. Your transmission cases are vulnerable. They could get hit and impacted. And there's nothing really holding these together. As you hit bumps and that sort of thing, is gonna make these stay together longer. I've seen a lot of transmissions over time that used to have some connected pieces here and here, but these don't have it. As far as serviceability, it has the same serviceability as the 3100s. It does have filters. You can change the fluid in these, and they do hold up really well, and they're a good transmission. Let's go look at the Toro. Okay guys, this is the Toro's underbelly. I have its 3100 transmissions. These do have the same ground speed as the 3200s. They're just as serviceable as the 3200s, but they do have slightly less torque. But look how they're designed. Look how they're installed. It's very different than that you see on the Bad Boy. First of all, you have this big, nice, heavy-duty black plate here. It is the lowest point of this rear end. If you back over something, it's gonna hit this. It's going to protect it. It's lower than all your cases on your transmission, so it's gonna protect that. If you slide off the curb with your back tires, it doesn't hit at all. It protects it always. These 2 points are the lowest points. Your transmissions are safe and protected. Your clutch cannot be impacted. It's very hard to get things up in there to damage that. And if you need to work on it, it's very easy. It's just 4 bolts. You can take this plate off. But this plate alone, man, makes me really like the rear end of this machine. There are no rubber bushings or isolation mounts for these transmissions. They're mounted fixed to the frame. So the pulleys are always gonna stay true. The belt is always gonna stay true. There's no flex in articulation. Yes, that might translate to slightly rougher ride, but only slightly, I promise you. And you're gonna have a lot less deviation in that belt, and then it's gonna be less maintenance in the long run. To me, this is a better design. It's gonna hold up better. Even though these are 3100s versus 3200s, I do prefer the way these are mounted and the way this whole belt system is designed to the Bad Boy, and I think, to me, this is a win. Okay guys, that was really fun. I love looking at these things piece by piece and kind of trying to understand exactly how they're made and what's different about them. You know, there were some things I really respect about the Bad Boy, and after seeing it and driving it and seeing other people drive it, like, it's only made me like realize like this is a really good machine. It has a 7-gauge deck. That's a thick deck, and those 3200s are respectable. But after driving and using the new Titan Max, I honestly fell in love with it even more so, truly. And I love the way it feels. I love the way, there's some things that you can't put on paper, you can't put on a spec sheet, that I just appreciate about the way this one feels. It feels a little bit tighter, the steering feels better. I like some of the design features more on the Toro than on the Bad Boy. And you know, it's just kind of interesting, you know, as someone who's looking to buy something that's gonna last a long time, you know, both of these machines are gonna last the duration of your warranty, but will it last beyond that? You know, you're hoping this $7,000 investment is gonna hold over your lawn care needs for years, 10 years. And that's the question, is which one's gonna hold up over a long, long period of time? And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, my experience with the type of design and engineering that goes into these machines, my tendency is to lean towards the Toro out of this comparison. Stu, what are your thoughts?
I think if you bought a Bad Boy, you'd be happy. If you bought a Toro, you'd be happy. These are almost the same price. The Bad Boy is $69.99 with a 2-year warranty. The Toro's $7,100 with a 4-year warranty. I think it's worth the $100 to have that warranty. Yeah. But I too agree that I think the Toro is the better engineered machine. Simpler in ways, and I think it will have less problems over the long haul.
Yep. And I just noticed like a lot of little component differences that matter too, like the ignition switch and the throttle cable and just the belt routing on that center pulley. Like there's just some little things you can't quantify on paper, but I liked about the Toro, and I know that those things would hold up for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we love you. We couldn't do this without you. This channel would be nothing without you. So thank you for subscribing and thank you for watching. Guys, leave a comment. It means the world to us. We love to interact with you in the comment section. It's either Stu or myself responding to you there, and we love interacting with you. So if you think we did a crap job, let us know. If you think there was something else you want us to review, let us know. We just love to hear your feedback. If you own a bad boy and you've had great experiences, let us know. If you've had bad experiences, let us know. If you have a Toro Titan Max and you've had good experiences, put it on there, guys. It means the world to us, helps the channel go a lot further. It's the best way you can support us is by interacting with the video, with liking it and subscribing and leaving comments. Thank you so much for watching. It means the world to us. Take it easy, guys.